Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new episode of Over the Top Talk. I'm your host, Owen, and this podcast, as you guys all know it, I bring on fighters from all across the world. And today, I'm welcomed with UFC fighter Hailey Cowan. How are we doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing amazing. It's pretty cold here in Boston, though. So, how is it over in where you are?
It's cold for Vegas, but it's not awful. It's tolerable.
Yeah, yeah, it's about 20 over in Boston. Usually, as always, around these type of season, we get cold over here. But just want to ask you, kind of before we start this, how have you been? I know you've been kind of all over the place. In You were with Melissa, who I'll have on this podcast later in the week. How was that experience in her fight week?
It was great. I got to go to Canada for the first time. Me and Melissa have been friends for about 5 years. We've become best friends. We're great training partners. We get along really well. We have a lot of the same beliefs, similar personalities, and we just click. When you find those people, you keep them. And so, yeah, I went to corner her in Vancouver. Got to go visit Canada. Got to visit her home. And then came back to Vegas, then went to Texas, went home for Thanksgiving, and now I'm back. So just kind of zoop, 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 zoop.
Perfect. And kind of, I saw on your Instagram page, I know this was a couple months ago, but you got to train with Sean Strickland over on the PI. How was that experience? I know Sean's a pretty crazy guy over there.
Oh, Sean's a good friend of mine. I've been training with Sean for a while. I train with him when I'm here. When I'm in Vegas, I train with him once or twice a week. So it's just another day.
And what would you maybe say is your favorite part about the UFC?
My favorite part about the UFC, that's a good question. I've competed high level in other sports. I was a very high level gymnast. I think what I like about the UFC is how small and tight knit the community is. You run into everybody. You get to train, for someone like me who hasn't been fighting for very long, I get to train with people that I once looked up to. So it's pretty cool how tight knit the community is. I think that's probably my favorite thing about it.
Yeah, and I know you just mentioned, training with the different fighters. Who's kind of been, some of your favorite fighters you've got to train with down at the PI Center?
Oh, to train with the PI. Besides Melissa, Melissa's my favorite partner to train with everywhere. And I think she would say the same about me. You'll have to ask her. But I really enjoy training with Veronica Hardy. I love training with Tatiana Suarez. Trying to think of the girls that are in. I mean, there's a bunch of girls that aren't in the UFC that train up there too that I really, really enjoy training with. Rachel Cummins, it's a good group of people there. Pierre Rodriguez, Jocelyn Edwards. Yeah, solid group. All of them are great to train with. Kind of try to stay away from people that you think you're going to fight, but at the same time, when you get into camp, you can kind of avoid those rounds, and everyone evolves every fight camp. So do what we can.
And, kind of building off that, who have you not come across that you would want to train with if you came across that person?
Oh, that's a good question. Who have I not come across? Girl or guy?
It can be either one.
We'll go with girl. I have come across Valentina, not like I haven't had any conversations with her. I would love to train with Valentina.
Valentina. Perfect. And, I know you last fought back in April, which was a loss. But what have you learned from that loss that you're trying to work on every day? Is there, anything you've been working on now that you want to improve on?
I'm learning that I have to stay healthy. That's been my issue since I got into the UFC. I had a healthy career up until I got into the UFC. And then once I got in, it was like I was plagued with injuries. And in the first round of my last fight, I tore my meniscus, ended up having to have surgery. And I knew it was torn immediately. I've done it before. So I got to figure out how to stay healthy. That's one of the main reasons I moved out to Vegas, because the Performance Institute's here. I don't have a lot of mileage on my body in terms of my fighting career, but I did do nearly 20 years of gymnastics before this. So it's like I've got a lot of mileage on my body in gymnastics, which is pounding and pounding and pounding on your joints. So, you know, I was healthy up until I got into the UFC, and then I was 30 when I got in. And it's like my body was like, "Oh, you're 30. Here's all your injuries." And so I just like had injury after injury and after injury. And right now I'm actually healthy. I went into my last fight. I had a really, my camp got shortened. I was supposed to fight in May. I ended up fighting in April, and I was coming off of I broke my leg in back in April before the fight the previous year. So I was coming off of that injury, and like I was fine, I was healthy, but everything just got rushed. And I think in the rushing, I just pushed
Yeah.
my body a little bit too hard because I felt, oh, I have I'm short 5 weeks now. And so I just kind of sped everything up, and when I didn't need to do that, and I just put a little bit of too much pressure on my body and went out and tore my meniscus in the first round. So it's like I feel like I'm at a spot now. I'm where I'm supposed to be. My dad coaches track, and he always says fast people are like fast cars. They're always in the shop. And
Yeah.
I'm the fast twitch person. You can tell by my build, and you can tell by the way that I fight. Everything I do is real quick and twitchy. So it's like I'm where I need to be to stay healthy, if that makes sense. So that's what I learned my last fight is I have to be healthy. I don't know if you watched round one, but I won very easily. And then I couldn't move in round two. So it was just like, oops.
Yeah, I know all about injuries. I played hockey for about
Yeah.
13 years, so I know all about that experience. But um, I know you just mentioned gymnastics. Has your experience with gymnastics like helped you at all, like in the UFC?
Yes. So this is what I tell everyone. Everyone's like, "Oh, I bet gymnastics is so helpful because of all the physicality. You're flexible, your balance is good, you're freaky strong, you're athletic, you're agile." Yes, but more than that is in gymnastics is what I tell everyone. You learn how to lose really well because you've got 4 events and you have to be perfect. If you make one mistake, you're done. You don't win. And so even if you're the best and you make a mistake, you lose. And it happens in fighting all the time too. Even if you're better than your opponent, you make one mistake, you get injured, something happens, you lose the fight. And the world doesn't see behind the scenes. I didn't get finish my fight and tell the world I tore my meniscus and couldn't move, couldn't walk. Like I didn't, not gonna leave excuses out there. So like you learn to deal with it. Your worth doesn't come from your wins. Your worth comes from your work. And so that's how you grow up in gymnastics. You lose, even if you're the best, you lose a lot more than you win. So you learn how to lose and you learn how to bounce back.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of fighters on here when it comes like I ask them kind of what motivates them to fight. Some say it's the money, some say family and friends. What motivates you to fight and train and like keep going?
So when I was a gymnast, I was very mental. Was really good in the gym and then would go to meets and just kind of fall apart and I'd get real afraid. And then when I went to college, I did acrobatics and tumbling, so I did gymnastics in college. I had like a switch in my brain where I just became this incredible competitor. And I was a 2-time All-American, won a national title for tumbling, and just I don't know, I just became this beast of a competitor, not really just an athlete, just like a mental giant on the mats. And I felt like I wasted a lot of time in gymnastics being so afraid that I wanted to do something that tested myself that I was scared of. and
Yeah.
just to prove to myself that I am who I think that I am. And I started training and I was like, you're pretty good at this. You could win, and I like to win. And I went and had a really great amateur career, and then had a good got into the UFC pretty quickly after turning pro, and hadn't trained very long. I learned really quickly. So I don't know, doing something that's terrifying. There's a very raw honesty to it, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, and obviously I when I do these interviews I like to ask questions that are kind of like unrelated to fighting. So just to start, if you weren't a fighter, what do you think you would be doing right now?
I would probably be an acrobatics and tumbling coach or a gymnastics coach. So coming out of college, I actually had a head coaching job at a university, and then started training and called and quit my job. So actually in Erie, Pennsylvania, so probably not too far from you.
Yeah, no, we're down in Mass, so yeah, it's not too far from
Yeah.
us.
So called and quit my job and then started training full time. So I'd probably be doing that because I love it.
Perfect. And if there was, one food that um you could eat for the rest of your life, like just one food, what would that food be?
Steak.
Steak.
I'm from Texas, and
It's
it's got
actually a good choice.
yeah.
And maybe, what's some music that you like to rock whenever you're training or sparring, anything like that?
Randy Newman. I'm just kidding. No, not Randy Newman. Me and Melissa always like when you can like pick the music at the gym, we'll always try to get there first and put the most annoying Randy Newman music on. But no, probably like 90s country or any Southern rock or praise and worship music.
Perfect. And, what's like a life lesson you would say fighting has taught you?
Um, I would say it's taught me that falling isn't failing, not trying is failing.
Awesome. And, I asked you what your favorite part of the UFC. I don't know, do you have a least favorite part maybe about UFC or just fighting in general, I should say?
The waiting, the dude, I'm not a patient person. That's something else that this has taught me, patience and like trusting the process and having faith in not only God that I'm where I'm supposed to be and doing what I'm supposed to do, but the UFC and my team around me. But the worst part is the waiting because like I've been waiting and I'm like I'm healthy. What am I? But and I'm asking around and everyone's saying the same thing. We're all like, oh, like,
Yeah, knowing you guys are or the UFC is about to get a 6-week little break, so probably worse for you guys.
it is, it is. But beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah, and kind of just talking about that, how does that kind of work? Do you kind of just get a phone call, or does your coach or something get a phone call, kind of like a matchup they throw at you, and then
Yeah.
you just accept it?
So your manager gets a phone call and then you get the phone call from your manager. And I have the best manager ever, Brian Butler with Sucker Punch. He gets so excited to call us and tell us we're booked. So we know when we get a FaceTime from Brian that it's go time.
Awesome. That's awesome. And maybe what's like a dream vacation spot that you would want to go to?
Croatia. I don't know why.
Croatia.
Got this thing with Croatia. It looks super pretty.
Nice little area over there.
Yeah. But Portugal,
Um,
I'd go back to Portugal.
and kind of maybe what's something that maybe unwind with, like kind of cool your mind, relax. What's something you like to do to like relax?
Well, I still coach gymnastics, and that is very relaxing to me. Because it's like it's home. I was a gym rat, so whenever I'm stressed after training, it's a good, easy way for me to wind down. But also I am on the praise and worship team at my church. So that is very, very, spiritual, obviously, but it's calming and it's, just being around people, worshiping God. It's very, very necessary for my week, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And do you have any like favorite shows or movies that you like to watch?
I have probably watched The Impractical Jokers every season like 15 times, and I'll watch it probably 15 more.
Yeah, I know it's unfortunate.
So,
Joe took off, but still a good show.
so good. People
And
are pretty good.
yeah, my favorite's probably Sal.
Me too.
Murr's not bad, but I'm a Sal guy when it comes
Me
to that
too.
show.
Me and Mel, you have to ask Mel about it too. She loves Sal too.
He's awesome. And maybe what's one piece of advice that you would hand to someone that might want to get into the sport of like mixed martial arts or fighting in general?
I've got two. My first one would be there's no time for plan B because it distracts from plan A. So throw all your eggs in one basket. My second one would be, well, this is what I did, and I can probably every other fighter can tell you the same thing that's far along in their career. Don't miss out on time with your family because you think that training is more important. Because missing one session is not going to determine whether you get to where you are in your career or whether you don't. So be there for family. I've missed so many moments that I wish that I had just been more present or been moody because I was having to be with doing something with my family when I was missing a session, and it was eating at me when I could have just rescheduled the session or done something, or gone for a run, could have made it up. And I just was very, very selfish in moments that I shouldn't have been, because in my mind, this is how it has to be. And that's just not true. So that would be my advice. Spend time with the people that you love. You can still train and do that. You don't need to train. If you're getting 2 or 3 sessions a day, that's more than enough. You can skip one here and there and be with your family.
Awesome. And actually, I should say I'm out of questions, but
That's fine.
we appreciate you coming on. Me and Anthony. Anthony's my other co-host, friend of mine. We love having you guys on in general, whether it's UFC fighters from different organizations. We love having you guys on. You guys help the channel or the page kind of grow itself. I've learned so much from, interviewing you guys. So I just want to thank you for coming on just kind of
Yeah.
before
Well,
we
I
wrap
actually
this up.
for you. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah, right? First time the interviewer gets interviewed, right?
But thank you for having me on. It was a blast. I love talking to fans. I love talking to people who actually want to understand the sport, not just watch us on TV and throw things at us and tell us we suck.
Perfect. And kind of end off with, where can the people find you, whether it's Instagram or the social platforms that you have
Yeah,
out there?
Instagram, All Hail MMA. That's where I'm most active. If you reach out to me and you're nice, I will always respond. So without y'all, without fans, without people that actually want to watch me fight, I don't have a job. So I always try to respond and shoot a message my way.
Perfect. And for everyone watching, I'll throw her Instagram links down below. Make sure to check it over the Top Talk. We're on Instagram right now, YouTube, pretty much everywhere you can find us, Twitter, just over the Top Talk, no spaces. Instagram's where we're most active as well. And we do get a decent amount of viewership over there. And we appreciate you guys all for watching, listening, and, collaborating with us. So, with that, I hope you guys all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next interview. Thank you, everybody, for watching today.
Thanks for having me. All right.